Hello everyone, my name is John. Welcome back to the channel. I want to thank you for being here. And today we're going to be talking about a listeria outbreak at a food processing plant that killed 2 people, left 28 hospitalized across multiple different states. Now, what was the attitude of this food processing plant after all of this happened, after the recall? That's just the cost of doing business. Well, why is that? That's because the penalties incurred from this incident are much cheaper than actually fixing the problem, even if it costs human lives. This is a shocking story and should concern any American. Let's get into the story. In late 2023, a listeria outbreak linked to deli meats killed 2 people and hospitalized 28 others across 12 states. Federal investigators who entered a Boar's Head company plant in Virginia discovered sanitation issues, including condensation and standing water throughout the facility. What's shocking isn't just the conditions they found, it's that USDA inspectors had documented multiple violations at this same plant over 2 years without suspending operations. What I'm about to show you reveals a systematic failure in America's food safety system. This isn't about one company's negligence. It's about regulatory agencies that prioritize industry relationships over public health, documented in federal inspection reports that anyone can access but few people know exist. The evidence demonstrates how the same agencies tasked with protecting food safety consistently fail to act on their own findings until people die. The CDC first identified the outbreak on November 6, 2023, when genetic fingerprinting linked listeria cases across multiple states to deli meats. By the time public health officials issued warnings, the contamination had spread nationwide through the deli counter network. Listeria monocytogenes is particularly dangerous because it can grow at refrigeration temperatures and causes severe illness in pregnant women, elderly adults, and immunocompromised individuals. The CDC outbreak investigation. What makes this outbreak particularly troubling is that federal inspectors had documented extensive problems at the Boar's Head facility for years before the outbreak occurred. USDA Food Safety and Inspection Service records available through Freedom of Information Act requests and compiled by food safety attorneys reveal multiple violations at Boar's Head's Jarrett, Virginia plant between January 2022 and the 2023 outbreak. These weren't minor paperwork violations. Inspectors documented green, slimy residue on walls, black residue on equipment, and standing water on floors throughout production areas, according to inspection reports obtained by legal investigators. In one inspection report, federal officials noted an accumulation of substance on walls and equipment and failure to maintain plant in a clean and sanitary condition. These conditions create ideal environments for listeria's growth and contamination. Despite documenting these violations repeatedly, USDA inspectors never suspended inspection at the facility or initiated more stringent enforcement actions that would have stopped production. The agency's own protocols call for immediate cessation of operations when inspectors find conditions that pose imminent threat to public health. Instead, inspectors issued non-compliance records, bureaucratic documents that require company responses but don't mandate immediate corrective action. The company was allowed to continue operating while promising to address violations that should have triggered immediate shutdowns. This pattern reveals a fundamental problem with food safety enforcement. Agencies prioritize maintaining relationships with industry partners over protecting public health, even when their own inspectors document dangerous conditions. Boar's Head isn't unique. Food safety watchdogs have repeatedly documented that USDA inspectors at meat processing facilities document thousands of violations annually without taking the strongest possible enforcement action that would impact production. The agency's performance metrics emphasize production continuity rather than safety compliance. Inspectors face pressure to avoid shutdowns that might affect company profits or employment in rural communities where processing plants provide significant economic activity. This creates what food safety experts call regulatory capture, when agencies become more concerned with serving industry interests than fulfilling their public health mission. When the listeria outbreak became public, Boar's Head issued standard corporate statements about cooperating with investigations and implementing corrective measures. The company emphasized their commitment to food safety while avoiding responsibility for the conditions that federal inspectors had documented for years. Lawsuits filed in relation to the outbreak allege that Boar's Head executives were aware of recurring sanitation problems but chose to address them through minimal compliance rather than systematic facility improvements. The company's approach reflects industry-wide practices: maintain production while making cosmetic changes to satisfy regulators rather than implementing comprehensive safety improvements that might affect profitability. Behind the statistics are individual tragedies. The 2 people who died from this outbreak trusted that federal food safety systems would protect them from contaminated products. Many were elderly adults who considered deli meats safe, convenient food options. Federal law requires USDA inspectors to document violation. But here's the trick. There are 2 types of violations: non-compliance violations and notice of suspension. Only one of those violations stop production, and that's the notice of suspension. Well, what about the non-compliance? The company just signs a form promising to fix it. No deadline, no follow-up inspection, no penalty whatsoever if they just completely ignore it. Boar's Head received 69 non-compliant violations in 2 years. 0 suspensions. Dead flies in meat, non-compliance. Pools of blood on the floor, non-compliance. It's not enforcement. It's paperwork theater designed to protect the companies and not your health. Lawsuits filed by victims' families reveal the specific human impact of regulatory failures. One elderly man developed listeria meningitis after eating deli meat and died within weeks, according to court documents filed in federal district court. These deaths were preventable. If USDA inspectors had acted on their own violation reports, production would have stopped before contaminated products reached consumers. The meat processing industry has successfully lobbied for self-regulation policies that reduce federal oversight while maintaining the appearance of safety monitoring. Companies now conduct many of their own inspections, with federal officials providing periodic reviews rather than continuous monitoring. This shift has coincided with increased foodborne illness outbreaks. CDC data shows that listeria infections have increased 24% since 2017, despite improved detection and reporting systems that should reveal declining rates if prevention were effective. International comparisons reveal alternatives. European Union food safety agencies have authority to immediately shut down facilities based on single violations that pose health risks. Their approach prioritizes prevention over industry accommodation. Several policy changes could address these systematic failures: mandatory facility shutdowns for serious violations, independent safety monitoring, and criminal liability for executives when safety violations cause deaths would create stronger incentives for compliance. However, reform faces significant resistance from industry groups that benefit from the current system and rural legislators who fear economic impacts from stricter enforcement. Understanding these regulatory failures helps individuals make safer food choices. Processed deli meats carry inherently higher contamination risk because they're handled extensively after cooking and stored at temperatures that allow pathogen growth. Fresh whole foods prepared at home eliminate most foodborne illness risk. When you control the entire preparation process, you don't depend on federal inspectors who may prioritize industry relationships over your safety. Choosing foods that don't require industrial processing. Meat you cook yourself, vegetables you wash yourself, products with minimal handling provides protection that regulatory agencies consistently fail to deliver. 2 people died from listeria poisoning in 2023 to 2024 because federal food safety inspectors documented multiple sanitation violations at a processing plant but never suspended operations. Condensate and standing water weren't enough to shut down a facility that was shipping contaminated products nationwide. This reveals the fundamental failure of America's food safety system. Agencies that prioritize industry accommodation over public health protection. When inspectors find dangerous conditions but allow production to continue, they become complicit in the harm that follows. Your safety depends on understanding that federal oversight provides minimal protection. The most effective food safety measure is choosing whole foods that don't require the industrial processing systems that regulatory agencies consistently fail to properly monitor. If this investigation into food safety failures was informative, consider sharing it with others who rely on processed foods and federal safety assurances. Understanding how regulatory systems actually function helps everyone make more informed decisions about food safety. Now, I hope you got a lot of value out of this video. If so, like it and subscribe to my channel, as I'll be putting out more videos like this, just opening our eyes to what goes on at some of these food plants that produce the food that ends up on our grocery store shelves. Now, also, there's a link to the MAP 30 Challenge. It's a website and it's a program that I created. Walks through my journey from 294 pounds down to losing over 100 pounds in my own journey. And I just created a program around that to show you what I did and how you can do the same thing. If you've been struggling to lose those extra pounds, you can lose weight just going through the MAP 30 Challenge. And I walk you through that, and the link to that is in the description. And all of that information is on the website, so you can check that out as well. Thank you for watching. We will see you in the next video.